What's going on, everybody? Young Bunnies here on the, I got a new player, it looks like. I just opened his inventory. Anyway, back on the server, which still doesn't have a name, or maybe it does, not really sure. Whatever. This isn't going to be a Let's Play episode, though. This is going to be a tutorial episode. I just finished building this bridge. If you've watched any of my videos before, you know that I'm much more of a builder, not like a redstone person, which is not to say I'm fantastic at building, but I was pretty happy with the way this bridge turned out. And so I want to, looking around YouTube, most tutorials on building things are just sort of, alright, you're going to make a square for the base, this size exactly, now put 3 blocks on top and do exactly like this. And that's, that's great if there's something on YouTube that's exactly what you want to build. But it doesn't really help you very much with the general building process. So that's what I want to do more. So this is going to be specifically about this bridge, but I'm going to try to be more general about techniques and things that I've found have helped when going for an original build like this from a source material. And so that's sort of where I want to start. When you have an idea like this bridge that you want to build, find, generally you have an image in your mind of what you want something to look like. Well, try to find an image on paper. If you can't find one on the internet, sketch one out. So for this, I wanted to build an arched bridge. So I searched Roman arched bridges online and eventually found a picture. I'll show you the picture later on, but found a picture. Obviously it's not Roman, it's got lampposts and things, but there's a reason for that. But anyway, so find a good source material, a good picture. That's going to be the number one thing. Now, real quick, before we get into this, as you can see my road design here, I sort of did like this at spawn as well. And I just want to briefly touch on this because, I think building a nice road is important as well. And currently, sort of one of the popular trendy things to be doing on roads is this sort of like patchwork design, showing where the road's been worn out and things like that. And I think it's a great design, but there's a few things that have been getting on my nerves from watching various people's YouTube videos. First of all, don't say you're randomly placing these blocks, because you're not. You're putting them in a pattern whether you think you are or not. It's humans are incapable of doing things completely randomly. And to illustrate this point, we're going to look at this image real quick. Okay, so here we go. We've got two halves of this image. One half has been completely randomized, points have been randomly selected, and the other half has been not. It's been intentionally done the way it is. Now, the one on the left is randomly selected, and the one on the right has been constructed. And as you can see, in a random distribution, there's clumps, there's empty spaces, there's almost, you can almost pick out patterns in it, and it's just been completely randomly selected. Whereas the one on the right is what we would typically think of as random, and it in fact is not. They're all evenly spaced, they're all about the same distance apart, and it's very uniform. And that's what most people end up coming up with something like on the right image when they try to randomly place blocks in Minecraft. And that's, so that's just something to be aware of. First of all, don't call it random, because it's not, and that annoys me. But also, think about a road in real life. All right, every road, there's some sections in good repair, there's some sections in bad repair. Now, are these randomly scattered, or they come in clumps, right? So if you're driving down your street where your house is on, maybe there's one section where they've been doing construction, so it's torn up, they've got a pothole, there's some cracked cement, and then whatever. These things come in clumps. Or when they repair a section, there'll be, one block is now perfectly smooth, and then it goes back to being beat up and normal. So keep that in mind when you're placing these random, quote-unquote, random blocks. Do them in clumps. If you have a section here where it's busted up, have another section where it's nice and smooth. And it's obviously on a little bit of a smaller scale than looking at a 100-mile long highway or something like that, where you'll have 5-mile long stretches of construction and then 20 miles where it's perfectly smooth. But, bring that onto a scale that is applicable here. And, this goes here. Uh-oh, do we have a death counter? Oh, no. Oh, boy. Sorry. Anyway. And so this goes for the road design that I've done, but also, when you want to differentiate, so you've got the sections that are nice and still intact with the stone bricks, and then don't just scatter these willy-nilly, keep them in sections, so the parts that are weathered and worn are actually parts that are weathered and worn, and not just random little floating bits. With that said, we're going to hop into a creative world now, look at the source image that I came up with, look at a couple different things in terms of possible ways to design a bridge like this. And I'll see you over there. Alright, as you can see, we're in my creative world, which is not very impressive. I don't have a lot of interesting redstone things or whatever. But anyway, okay, so we're going to start from the beginning, alright? So I knew I wanted a bridge with a Romanesque arch like this, right? The Roman style arches were round, as opposed to, say, your Gothic arches, which are, they come to a point more, like this would be more of a Gothic style arch because it goes to a point instead of being rounded like the Roman. So anyway, I looked for a picture of a rounded Roman style bridge, and if you just search for Roman arch bridge, you get something that looks like this. And now there's several reasons why this bridge would be a terrible one to model your Minecraft build off of. For one, it's uniform material, right? You can see there's weathering and texture on these bricks, but you can't replicate that in Minecraft because you're dealing with a much larger scale with the bricks, with the blocks you can use. So that would not the one texture. It also is completely flat on the sides. There's no detailing or depth or different layers. It's just flat. And if you were to build this in Minecraft, it's going to look blocky. It's going to look very boring and bland. So get rid of this one. This one's out. Picture's out. I continued looking for Archetype Bridges and came up with this one. And now this one it's more of a schematic almost, but you can tell it has a lot more details in it already. It's got the columns, it's got the railing at the top, it's got the light fixtures. It even has sort of I don't know what you'd call it, like the threshold or the border between the upper section where you'd walk with the railing and the structural arch part. And these are all things that we can exploit in Minecraft and make much more interesting and much more detailed building. Now, that being said, if you were to try to exactly duplicate just like this drawing is, you're going to end up with something that looks kind of like this. At least this was my interpretation. You have the stone bricks on the arch and the railing at the top and the two columns at each junction. And that's decent, but it's still not very detailed. It's not very intricate, and it sort of looks bland in Minecraft because, where there would naturally be details, it's just you've got flat, smooth surfaces. So you've got to find a way around this, and that's what I'm hopefully going to teach you how to do. So I'm going to get set up with the bridge, and I'll be right back. Okay, so what I've done here is I've just laid out the basic arches, okay? So, and now all this it's real simple as far as arches go. We've just got a basic, it's like half of a circle, and it would be a circle with a diameter of 11. So you can look up a circle generator online or whatever. It's 2, 1, 1, and then 5, and then 1, 1, 2, same thing again. And now what I've done over here, you can leave it like this, but I prefer to round it off just a little bit like so. It just gives it a little bit more of a rounded shape. I believe the one I have on the server is actually one block taller than this, but because I think it goes down one more. but that's okay. This is irrelevant. So now, that's the first step we've got here, right? The first thing that strikes us when we look at this bridge is the arch structure. And so now we've got the arch structure here. And I'm just going to do one section here. You could sort of mod this out to infinity. Get it as long as you want, as many sections as you want. We're just going to do one. And so now after the arch, I've filled in with this smooth stone here, and the smooth stone with the stone brick gives the illusion of texture when there isn't any. It's just a flat wall, right? But the way the stone brick looks like it's sticking out a little bit or whatnot, and especially it doesn't look, you don't get this illusion so much when it's like this, but once we add some actual texture, it really, your mind thinks that there's some, a different layer here almost. Okay, so now, what's our next most prominent feature? And that is going to be the columns. So we need a base for these columns, and then just stick them up like that. And I'm just gonna do one side, just for time purposes. Don't really need to show you both sides. And again, just kind of trying to put in some sections where it's busted up and weathered versus where the structure is still intact. Good to just keep mixing those in and out. All right, so now we've got the columns. And again, these are another block where when it is in contrast, the texture is in contrast here, it looks like it's a separate structure, right? It looks like it's a separate column in front. Whereas if you were to do the same thing here, now, now it looks like just part of the wall sticking out. It doesn't look like a separate column. Whereas now we've got this contrast between the white and the wall, and specifically the vertical stripes. This, our mind associates this as a column, and so that's what we want to do. Now, okay, so we've got the columns, we've got the arch. Let's work on the border because we now need the border between the structure and where the railing and the up top surface is going to go. All right, so now to do this, we can certainly add in a good amount of different bricks here, different blocks with the stone brick versus the cobblestone, and then put some there. We'll finish the top of these columns off later, but for right now I want to do this. Okay, so now that's part of the border, but now this is an opportunity for us to create a lot of texture and variation in these blocks, because we're taking a natural feature from the actual model and accentuating it, right? We're exaggerating it. The actual feature is a slight border, so now we need to exaggerate this. Now for this, what I've done on I need to go up a little bit. If we put some just like this and like so, and now you notice I'm skipping this block in the middle. I'm going to go back with a half slab there, and then we just get these half a block by half a block little pokey uppy things for lack of a better term, coming out of the sticking up like so. So now we come back. I'm so bad at creative building and flying around and stuff. All right, and so there we go. And now you can see, I wasn't really. All I was trying to do was sort of, if there was cobble below, maybe match it with the cobble above, and then sort of keep it in sections here, right? We don't have just random cobbles sticking out of a bunch of stone brick. It sort of flows together like, I don't know, maybe a boat mast hit this on the way through and crumbled it, or something, who knows. Just gives an illusion of some structure instead of sporadic block placement. Okay, now next thing we're going to do is we're going to put smooth stone behind there, because if you do cobble or stone brick, you won't be able to tell anything back there. and we could do another material like the quartz again. Do horizontal columns. You know, that gives a lot more contrast, but almost too much, because this is a stone bridge after all, so we need to keep, I want to try to keep as much as possible stone and keep those as just the accents for the columns. Okay, so there we go. Now our next feature we need to do is the railing. For the railing, we could do any variety of materials. This iron fencing, we could do the cobblestone walls, we could do the regular fence posts, or nether brick fences, or whatever. We're gonna go with these for right now, and the reason for that is the cobblestone walls blend in too much with the rest of the structure. We want something a little bit to stand out, but the other materials stand out too much. So this is sort of a perfect medium. But now look at this. You know, I've got 16 blocks almost, or however many, in a row of one material, and it's boring for the eye. So every time we have the half slab down here, we're gonna break it out and put in the little posts like that. And now we're talking. See, we've got a supportive. Everything looks supported. Every structure looks like it has a function, even though obviously, you could build a bridge like this and 50 miles long in Minecraft and it works fine. But all right, so now we need to incorporate these columns back into the overall design. In terms of, actually didn't look bad. Whatever. These columns need to be incorporated with the rest of the structure. I don't know what I was saying. So now in the picture, the columns have, I think they're called Corinthian. They have the sort of spiral flower type shapes at the top, and we can't really do that in Minecraft. We don't have something that can go to that small detail. So instead, we're just going to come with create this. It gives it, again, another layer, some more depth. You want to, when you have layers, it makes it more appealing to the eye and more interesting than a flat structure. So see over here, it's all uniform and long and boring, whereas over here it's broken up. We've got different textures, we've got different levels. Looking from out here, we've got 1, 2, 3 levels right here, and this is just on one side. We haven't even finished. We don't even have the road. So we've got 3 layers, then a road, then 3 more layers over here. Whereas on this side, it's just sort of, I guess technically we've really only got 2, but anyway, that's beside the point. So now let's go ahead and put a block there. We could do bricks over here. Again, go like, and like so, and like, what do we have there? Do we have anything there? We don't have anything there. Okay, so now we put the light posts, and I'm looking in the wrong place. And this creative stuff is always a struggle for me. Now for these, this is building block 2, isn't it? I went with some lamps like these. One other possibility. How do I do that? There, okay. So that's one way to do it. This is how I did them on the server. Another possible option here, actually, is to go, if you want to do redstone lamps, I much prefer the lamps. It's That's not what I meant to do. I much prefer the lamps to the just raw glowstone. So if you want to do that, you could do something like that, where it looks like it's a continuation of the column. But I was just going more towards the original, the actual lamp on top of the post idea. But so, I mean, that's basically it. And it's pretty simple, and it took us 10 minutes here, and you want to isolate. Overall tips we've learned today is isolate the components that you want to accentuate and that you think define the image that you're trying to recreate, and focus on those, and make sure you put as much detail into those limited points as you can. So for example, the basic structure of the bridge, like the walls of the bridge, we didn't do anything to those because we don't need to. They don't need to stand out. The trim and everything else is standing out for them, so we can essentially ignore that. And then we've got road coming in here, or however you want to do this. But so that's about it, guys. I hope this is a little something different, but I hope this is helpful, and I hope this can help you guys build, and your builds in general, whether they be bridges or other buildings or whatnot. So thanks for watching. Really appreciate the support I consistently get. You guys are awesome. And if this sort of a tutorial, almost a mix between the tutorial and the Let's Play is good, let me know, and I could continue doing this with other builds as I finish them on the server. I can do a tutorial for them with you guys. Hopefully keep coming up with some good theory tips for you guys. Because it's not that I want people copying my builds. I just want to help you guys come up with builds of your own. That's what I would look for in a tutorial too. I don't like copying directly other people's ideas. I just look for ideas and tips and solutions and things like that. So that's the idea, and hopefully this wasn't too long or whatnot. But anyway, thanks for watching again, and until next time, peace.